Hello, my name is Mrs. Epps, and today's video lesson is going to be on graphs. So let's look at our lesson objective. I will answer questions about a graph. Okay? Here are the materials you're going to need: paper, pencil, and counters. More than likely your parents are close by, so your parents will go and grab these materials for you. Your counters can be beans, it can be coins, whatever is safe to count with. All right, let's continue on. If you notice here, you are looking at a graph, okay? This is a bar graph, okay? Why? Because you see you have bars here, okay? And our activity is called Analyzing Bar Graphs, okay? Now you may say to yourself, what is a graph? And a graph represents information. If you recall, or may have recalled, you may have been in class at one time or another, and the teacher may have said, I'm going to take a survey today. My survey is going to be about your favorite candy bar. Here are your choices. And she may have said, how many of you like Snickers? How many of you like Butterfingers? And a certain number of people raised their hand for Snickers, and a certain number of people raised their hand for Butterfingers. And she says, we're going to, or he says, we're going to put this information in a graph. That's exactly what this is. It represents information, okay? So let's see what our graph is all about. Before you begin to answer any questions about your graph, you want to just take a look at your graph, okay? So it says here that we have Mrs. B's classes graphing the number of photos they edited after their family reunions. Look at the graph and see how many photos each student edited, okay? And here are some key words right here. We're looking for how many they edited, right? So let's not forget that. And whenever you're answering questions about a graph, you always want to look for those clue words, okay? Or keywords, okay? That's going to help you to know what you're going to need to do. Are you going to add? Are you going to subtract? That's what those clue words help you to do. Okay, so let's look at our graph here. We have some names going down the side, and beside each name we have colored tiles. Okay, let's see how many tiles are next to Randy's name. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many colored tiles are next to Mary Beth? 1, 2. How many colored tiles are next to Danielle? 1, 2, 3. And how many colored tiles are next to Ryan? 1. So let's begin by answering our first question. It says here, which student edited the most amount of photos? Which student edited the most amount of photos? Here's a clue word, most. Now, what does most mean? A lot, right? More than anybody else, right? Right? That's what we're looking for. All right, so if we go up here, we're going to start with Randy, and once again, we'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So write that number on your paper. Let's look at Mary Beth. 1, 2. Write that number next to 6. What did Danielle do? 1, 2, 3. Write 3 next to 2. And how many did Ryan do? 1. And write 1 next to 3. Okay, so let's take a look at this number line, okay? And you will have access to this number line. So if we look at our first number, which was 6, okay? That's 6. And our next number was 3. And our next number was 2. And then we had a 1. Now, whenever you're going this way on the number line, the numbers get higher. When you go this way on the number line, the numbers get smaller. So which number was our highest number? Did you say 6? So let's go back over here and see who did 6 videos. Randy. So which student edited the most amount of photos? Randy. Good job. All right. Now it says here, which student edited the least amount of photos? Here's a key word right here, okay? Least. Let me underline that for you. And least means what? The smallest. The smallest amount. Who did the smallest amount of videos? Now, if you just look at those numbers that we have on our paper, we had 6, 2, 3, and 1. Which number was the smallest number? Did you say 1? Yes. And who did 1 video? Ryan. And if you just look up here at your graph, you will see here you have a lot of red, okay? But you only see a very, very small amount of this color, okay? He has the smallest number because everybody else did more than he did, okay? All right, let's move on to our next graph. Okay, and once again, we're going to preview our graph first. And if we look at this graph, it's about a favorite ball, okay? And if you notice on the side, we have numbers, and it says there number of votes, okay? And it could have been that they took a survey, right, in class about who liked a certain type of ball. At the bottom here, these are your categories. And you'll see just the S for soccer ball because we do not have room to write soccer ball. So we're just including the first initial of the ball. Okay, so we have how many soccer balls? We go up the graph and over. How many do we have? 5. And it says how many footballs? Up the graph and over. How many do you have? 7. Now, let's go to our basketballs. Up the graph and over. How many do you have? 4. And here you have your tennis balls. Up the graph and over. How many do you have? 2. Okay? Let's go to our very first question. It says, how many balls are there in all? So now we have 2 key words here. In all. Now what does in all mean? Does that mean addition or subtraction? Did you say addition? If you did, you were right. So we're going to be doing some adding. Okay? All right. So, and when we count something in all, that means we have to count all of them, right? All right. So let's start by saying how many soccer balls we had. We had how many? 5. So we will write 5 here. How many footballs do we have? Up the graph and over, how many do we have? 7. So plus 7. How many basketballs do we have? Up the graph and over, how many? 4 plus 4. How many tennis balls do we have? Up the graph and over, how many? 2 plus 2. And then we're going to write our equal sign. Now you're going to use your counters. How many counters are you going to take out first? You say 5, so put out 5 counters. Now you're going to add how many to your 5 counters? 7. And now how many counters are you going to add to the 7? 4. And now how many counters are you going to add? 2 to the 4. Now we have to count all of those counters all together. So go ahead and count those. Did you count 18? If you did, you were exactly right. Now, another way we could have done that was we could have just counted all of them. So let's just count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we came up with the right answer. So we're going to write 18 right here. Okay. Which ball has the most? That's our next question. Here's a key word right here, most. All right, which ball has the most? Okay, and most means what? A lot or more than anybody else or anything else, right? It means a whole lot. So if we just look at our graph, which ball will really have the most? Did you say the football? You were right, because we only have 2 tennis balls, right? We only have 4 basketballs, and we only have 5 soccer balls. And the footballs go way up here and over to the 7, right? If you just look at the graph, you can just see that we have more footballs than we have any other ball. Oh, let's make that A a little bit better there. Okay, so now next question says, which ball has the least? Which ball has the least? Here's a key word, least. What does least mean? The smallest amount. The smallest amount. Okay, if we look at this, once again, here we go. Soccer ball has how many? 5. How many footballs do we have? 7. How many basketballs do we have? Up and over? 4. And how many tennis balls do we have? 2. So if you just were to write those numbers down and look and see which number is the smallest number, you can really look at your number line for that. Did you say 2? Because remember what I said? When you go this way on the number line, things get smaller. When you go that way on the number line, things get bigger. And 2 is our smallest number, right? So we have, which ball has the least? It would be tennis balls. All right. Now it says, how many more footballs than tennis balls? How many more footballs than tennis balls? So now here is a keyword here, or keywords, many more. Are we going to be adding this time or subtracting? Okay, we're going to be doing some subtraction this time, okay? All right, so we have to find out how many footballs we have first, right? So let's go over to our graph, up the graph and over. How many? 7. Now we're going to go to our tennis balls. Up the graph and over. How many? 2. So it's going to be take away 2. And let's put our equal sign. So let's use our line graph for this one. So we're going to start with 7, and we're going to go back 2 spaces. What's our answer? 5. So here we're going to write 5, okay? 7 take away 2 equals 5, or 7 minus 2 equals 5. So it says how many more footballs and tennis balls? 5. And we can check that by looking at our graph. If we look here, we see our tennis balls here, and here are our footballs. So if we count those blank spaces all the way up to the last football, let's see how many of those spaces are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And that was correct. 5. It says how many fewer basketballs than soccer balls? How many fewer basketballs than soccer balls? Here's a key word. Once again, we're looking for our keywords, and we're going to add or subtract. We're going to be doing some subtracting, right? So we have to look at our basketballs first. How many do we have? Up the graph and over, right? We have how many basketballs? 4. Now we're looking for soccer balls. How many soccer balls do we have? We're going to go up the graph and over. We have 5. Now, which number is bigger, the 5 or the 4? So we're going to put the 5 first, okay? And we'll take away and put our equal sign. Now, you can use your counters if you want, but I'm going to use a number line, okay? We can see if we come up with the same answer. Okay, all right. So here we start at 5, and we're going to go back 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. What answer did you come up with? Did you say 1? If you did, you were correct. 1. And if we look at our graph, if we look at our soccer balls and compare it to look at our basketballs and go all the way up, okay? And we see that the last soccer ball stops right here. Is there a basketball here? No, it's only 1 space there. And we can see that we were correct, okay? All right, very good. You've been doing a lot of hard work, okay? And I want you to stay encouraged, all right? You've been working hard. Let's continue. We're going to look at another type of graph. Now, this graph is called a line graph, okay? Why? Because you see lines here, right? It's called a line graph. Now, let's see what the line graph is all about. Remember I said you had to preview your graph? And these are your weekly temperatures, okay? This graph is going to be about temperatures, okay? All right. And at the bottom of the graph, we have our categories, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which are the days of the week. Along the side, we have our temperatures, okay? So I want you to pay close attention to that. And I also want you to keep in mind that as we go up the graph, we're talking about temperatures. And what does temperatures mean? How hot or how cold something is, right? So at the bottom of the graph is going to be our coldest temperature. And as we go up that graph, it's going to get hotter. So keep that in mind because you all want to answer some questions about that, okay? Let's go to our very first question. Okay, it says here, what was the temperature on Monday? What was the temperature on Monday? Let's use our graph to figure that out. So we're going to go to Monday. We're going to go up the graph, which stops right here, okay? And we're going to go over. It was a little smiley face right here. So it should be a little smiley face, right? Let me put one there. Well, I won't be able to put this smile, but I am going to put a dot here and a dot here because our smiley faces disappeared. All right, but it's okay. So let's go up the graph and over. What was the temperature on Monday? 55. Okay. And the question for all of these are going to be, what was the temperature on? So what was the temperature on Tuesday? Let's look and see. So we're going to go up our graph and over. What was the temperature on Tuesday? 65. What was the temperature on Wednesday? Let's see. We're going to go up that graph and over. What was the temperature? 65. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Tuesday and Wednesday had the same temperatures. Wow. What was the temperature on Thursday? Let's go to our graph. Let's look at Thursday. Up and over. What was the temperature? 60. And what was the temperature on Friday? We're going to go up that graph. Let's put a little dot here because that's where our line is going. We're going to go up that graph and all the way over. What was the temperature? 70. Okay. All right. Very good. So now we're going to answer some more questions. It says here, which was the warmest day? Which was the warmest day? So let's look at our graph. Now, I know you kept this in mind. When I explained to you, I said, as we go up the graph, the numbers get what? The temperatures get what? Warmer. So which day was the warmest day? And we're only comparing Monday through Friday. Which day was the warmest? If we go up the graph and over, which day was it? And then down again, Friday was the warmest day. Okay, let's write Friday in. It says, which 2 days was it the same temperature? I bet you remember that. Which 2 days was it the same temperature? Let's look at our graph. So if we look here, we have to look for the happy faces or the dots where they are the same, okay? And we can, if we look here, we go up, we see that we have Tuesday with 65, and then there's another smiley face that is equal with this smiley face. And we go down and we see this Wednesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday had the same temperatures. So we'll put Tuesday. And then we're going to write and Wednesday. All right. Good job. Okay. And now it says, which was the coolest day? So if you remember with our graph, as we go down the graph or down the numbers, we know that our coolest temperatures are at the bottom and our highest temperatures up here. So which temperature is the coolest? Did you say 45? That's the coolest. But on which day did we have the coolest temperature? Which day was that? So we have to see which dot was below all these other dots here. So we know we can see that's definitely warmer. That's warmer. And that's warmer than this one. And this is definitely warmer than this one. So which day was the coolest day? Monday. Okay, good job. All right, very good job. Did a good job working with that line graph, right? You did a good job with that. Okay, so let's go to some more graphs. Now this time we're going to look at a graph. This is another bar graph, and this bar graph is about sea animals, okay? Sea animals. And let's preview our graph first. We see we have our numbers going up the side here, and we see at the bottom, these are our categories. And once again, we will not be able to write out the entire word. We're just going to include the first initial or the first letter in the word. So these are what? Octopuses, right? And then we have crabs, and then we have sharks, and we have a seahorse. Okay? All right. So it says here, it says, which sea animal has the most? Okay? So we look here, there's a key word. What does most mean? The biggest amount, right? So let's see which one has the most. How many octopuses do you have? 3. How many crabs do you have? 2. How many sharks do you have? 4. And how many seahorses do you have? Just 1. So now, if you wrote all those numbers down, let's write those numbers down. 3, 2, 4, and 1. Which number is the biggest number? Did you say 4? Yes, because we have more sharks than we have anything else. And in this case, you could have just simply looked at your graph and see what you have the most of, more than anything else. And we can see here it is the sharks, okay? All right, it says, how many more sharks than crabs? How many more sharks than crabs do we have? So now we have to determine how many sharks we have. How many sharks do we have? 4. How many crabs do we have up and over? 2. And you see that many more, which means that we're going to be doing some adding or subtracting. Subtracting. So we're going to take away 2, and it's going to equal something, right? And if you put out 4 counters, how many are you going to take away? 2. What do you have left? 2. If we look at our graph, if we find our sharks and we look at our crabs, where do our crabs stop? Right here, 2. What's left? 2 spaces. 1, 2. So we can put 2 here. It says, which sea animal has the least? Which sea animal has the smallest amount? Did you say the seahorse right here? That's right. We're going to put seahorse. It says, how many fewer seahorses than octopuses? How many fewer seahorses than octopuses? So let's just look at our seahorses and look at our octopuses. We can see here that we have how many octopuses? We have 3 octopuses, right? And how many seahorses do we have? 1. How many, if we go all the way up to the octopuses, how many blank spaces do we have? 2. So we have two fewer seahorses than octopuses. Okay, I've enjoyed being with you today, and I hope that you have enjoyed our lesson on graphs. Remember, when you're working with graphs, preview your graph, understand it's representing some information, and also look for your clue words. That's going to tell you what you're going to need to do, whether you're going to be adding, subtracting, or if you're doing some other type of computation, okay? I want you to stay safe and stay healthy, and I'll see you again in the next video lesson.